Today, we're going to talk about the cost of 3D print manufacturing. Whether you're someone who has a product and now is looking for a partner to do scaled production, or you have a couple printers and want to build your own print farm. I've been sending out a lot of quotes in the last 3 months and building some larger and smaller partnerships and doing those production runs in-house, and I've learned quite a lot. Today, I want to take you in behind the curtain, talk about some of the things that I've learned, the mistakes I've made, and a few things that I've changed to better improve that process. If you're new here, my name's Chris Eggenberger. I run Off the Bench, a 3D print manufacturing business out of my basement. Let's dive into it. Let me preface it here. A lot of the things I'm about to talk about in this video are going to be kind of general if you manufacture things. This is kind of useful and similar overlap to those other production methods like injection molding, or if you do woodworking or CNC and that type of thing. But for 3D printing, there's a specific category which is unique in the sense that many people can just go out and buy these printers, right? They are accessible, unlike CNC, unlike a lot of high-end woodworking tools, unlike injection molding. There is a low barrier to entry to getting one of these, and for a lot of people, these are prosumer hobby machines where they can make their own things at home. It's fantastic. Honestly, it's super cool. That's how I started. But the considerations that I have to think about when doing large production runs is very different, and each one adds additional cost. Transitioning from prototyping or low volume sales to production is quite a bit different, and the biggest consideration for me in a print farm is actually machine time. So the ideal scenario is these things would be running 24/7, right? That's the logical way. That is the best way to produce as many parts as quick as possible. But the reality is that's not achievable for two reasons. Number one, human labor. I have to be here to monitor and swap the build plates. And number two is that it's really, really hard to find a product that perfectly lines up, fills the print bed, and allows you to get in a probably 22-hour print job, right? Because if you're going more than that, you don't have time to maintenance, load new filament, and all that jazz between prints, and then your day cycle will just run kind of like up the clock, if you know what I mean. But anyway, what I'm getting at is you want to run these guys as much as possible. For a lot of different products and some edge cases that I've come across while sending out all these quotes and running different test runs for people, is that their products aren't designed necessarily for scaled production. Now, for me, that's actually an opportunity in one area that I've been trying to be better at helping out my customers. When I get into a quoting process, if I see something that's a little off, because I print such a wide variety of different products, I get to understand what does and what won't work on a 3D printer, especially when you're trying to squeak out as much print time as possible. My entire balance is how do I create the most valuable, high quality product for someone while also doing it at the least possible cost for them that allows me to still pay the bills and put food on the table for my family. And if you didn't already notice, they can't be the same thing. You either get higher quality, more expensive, or lower quality and cheaper. So where is the balance? And for everybody, that's a little bit different. And that's where one of the biggest challenges in doing all these quotes is trying to strike that balance with people. The next challenge I've had, and again, because how accessible these machines are, is the understanding that, well, these are cheap. I can just buy a whole bunch of these and do it myself. And in a lot of the cases, that maybe is a good fit. For me, this is all capital expenditure. You know, each one of these is sitting around $600, and you can do the math. About $6,000 worth of machines there. I've got another $8,000 of machines over here behind me, another couple $2,000 in my other area in my shop. And that is all not only expenditure that I've had to take on, but then also space that I have to have in my basement, electricity that gets used, all of the major overhead, insurance, and all the other jazz that's important to running a business. Now, I think as a small business owner, when I first started out, one of the most difficult things to factor in was labor. As a solo entrepreneur specifically, you know, labor kind of comes and goes. You're just investing your time, you're doing your business, you're hustling, right? And you're not factoring in the cost and the man hours that it goes into not only maintaining a fleet of printers, but also doing all the necessary checks to make sure that the parts are coming off correctly. For every hour that these printers run, there is depreciation. They're not a forever thing. I'm going to have to replace or upgrade them eventually. And in the meantime, I'm doing general maintenance and repairs as well. Those repairs and maintenance also all incur additional labor into those steps. I think for a lot of the people who I have had quotes that didn't go through, I have found that there's a gap in the fact that pricing and putting labor into the price of their products probably isn't something they're factoring in at the moment because they're still new to it. And I'll be honest, until the last 6 months, that was something I didn't really have to think too much about. But now that I'm doing larger production and knowing that one day I will have to hire somebody, I have to make sure that not only can I run this, but can I train somebody in this? Is there the correct systems in place so that way I can bring somebody in and it's easy to do? I don't have to like have all the same knowledge that I do from the past 5 years plus of actually playing around with 3D printers. The fact that labor is not factored in for a lot of people means that my quotes often come across high because they're not taking into consideration all the labor and man hours that goes into doing this type of work. The other thing I've been trying to figure out is when to and when not to charge for something. Good example is I had a request come through for these little pucks. They're like spacers for a vehicle, an ATV off-road vehicle, and really simple print. They sent me an STL and it has a hole in it. It's a circle with a hole. It's not difficult, but if you're new to 3D printing, maybe you don't know, but you should chamfer all the edges. Chamfer edges. That makes the prints way cleaner. It makes the bed surface, the part that actually is touching the build plate, way better for the print in terms of fit and finish and quality. And I knew I could 3D model that in 5 minutes. So should you charge for the 3D modeling service or no? And in this case, I decided not to because I can provide extra value to a customer to provide them with a better quality product that hopefully one day if they need something else, they'll come back, right? Looking for that repeat business. And also makes me more proud of the work I do rather than just printing off whatever they send. And those are some examples of areas where I might stretch myself if I have a request for a type of 3D modeling or something else that I'm not entirely sure if it would work, but I want to test it out because I know if I could test it out, it's one more tool in the toolbox that I can add value to an additional customer down the road. Should I always charge for that? I don't know, probably one day. Can I get away with not doing it at the moment? Yeah, sometimes. Another challenge that I think I've messed up on is communicating effectively that I am open for negotiation. This type of manufacturing work is a lot different, and I feel like we live in a world that's so transactional. People have come accustomed to going, that's the price, I guess I can't do it. When in reality, people are willing to work with other people. I'm willing to negotiate. And with 3D printing, there's a lot of different ways when you're doing large scale production run that you can make changes to the model, you can make changes to the settings, or you can make changes to how you load up and actually schedule the production that can drive cost way down. Here's the best example of what I'm talking about. For me as a solo business owner, I really am not, I'm down here all the time, but I can't be here 24/7. And I don't ever plan to run a 3-shift manufacturing business. I would like to respect my future employees' times and have an 8-hour workday. I think that would be really nice. So how do I plan for that? Well, that means that for me, production can only be swapped once per day if you have a 9+ hour print job. So because of that, is it really that much different outside of depreciation and electricity to run a 12-hour print job versus a 20-hour print job? Now, you might say, yes, Chris, you're being dumb. Of course there is. You have all these things. But I would also say that there's an efficiency. This is one way that you can help drive down costs on 3D print manufacturing for people by saying, hey, if we can find a way to set up your product so we can do production in longer periods, use more utilization on the printing, it actually helps drive down costs for you because I can't be there to swap the build plate anyway. So I try my best to understand how much I need to make on my machines per day to be able to survive and grow the business. And that target can change quite drastically if I go from printing 2 products on a printer per day to 4. If I can double the output on my machine in a single day, well, theoretically, it's going to drive your cost way down. So that is one area that I have been trying to get people on the phone to help understand their product and process better so I can give them the best possible outcome for what's reasonable to manufacture. And I think that itself is a challenge. And if you're interested in doing your own type of print farm for other people, it's a challenge you'll have too. What you're noticing, a lot of this is just typical sales stuff. Good to practice, the more you do. It's kind of a numbers game. You'll get better at it as you go on. So to kind of put a bow on all of this, sales is a numbers, communication, and a thing you need to practice. It's something I've been doing since I got out of college, and I'm still learning. I'm still getting better at it. But doing something that you enjoy and that you're really passionate about is a good first step into making the sales process way easier. Sell something you're excited about. And for me, figuring out how to take something so small or something that fits on one of these printers and figuring out how to produce thousands of them is a very interesting and exciting challenge every time I get to do it. So for me, the no's recently have hurt. Some of them have been brutal, but not the first, not the last time that's going to happen. And others I have turned into phenomenal partnerships and couldn't be happier with the people I get to work with. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you do need somebody to do 3D print manufacturing for you, please reach out. I'd love to understand what your project is, what goals you're trying to achieve, how many things you're trying to get through a shop, and what you're trying to build for yourself. That will help me inform how I do the quoting, the manufacturing, and really answer a lot of those nuanced questions to help give you the best balance between quality and price. Just as a reminder, if you like this type of stuff, hit that bell icon, subscribe, like, leave a comment below. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll talk soon.